Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and E3. E3 is an exciting time for gamers, but for me, I always felt on the outside looking in. Again, I like covering sort of the here and now kind of games, where you can grab the game right now and play it right now. I'm very cynical in nature, and what I see in front of me, until I get my hands on it, I'm really not going to believe exactly what I'm being given. But this E3 did change things a little bit. At least there were reasons for me to get excited again. So throughout the entire press conference and the sort of side portions of the conference, I chose the 7 games that I got excited for or was surprised by the most. Not to say that I didn't get excited by other games that aren't on this list. Games like the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Star Fox Zero are games that I got excited by. But either they didn't do enough or show me enough, or what I was truly expecting that they didn't make the list in the end. But let's get right to it. Here's the top 7 games that I'm looking forward to that had a presence of some sort at E3 2015. Number 7, The Last Guardian. First of all, I'm excited that the game is not actually dead. But within 15 seconds of the gameplay that they showed, it had Team Ico's signature style on it. The awkward movement by the main character, that epic landscape and attention to detail there, and that little thing known as charm. What the game showed me was a puzzle-like experience that played to the charm between the two main characters and the Guardian and the kid. But what it showed me was exactly what I want out of a game by Team Ico. Show, but don't tell. I think games nowadays forget the medium that they are in and are too wordy or straightforward at times when they really should be letting subtle hints or the expressions and the environments talk for them. We've all seen it before, press X to do action, press Y to do that, and explaining what exactly you're doing that for. That never worked for me. This is exactly what I don't see with The Last Guardian. No move this out of the way so the Guardian can pass. The Guardian's fear when going towards the windmill in this demo is exactly what I want to see. There's so much that can be done in storytelling like that, and makes me feel like, yes, this is what I wanted. I know what I need to do in order to get the Guardian to come to me, and I don't need to be told specifically that. I am rewarded with thinking outside the box and actually doing what I need to do, and the game pushes me subtly, but not forcing me into it. The beautiful landscapes and everything around it just gives a little bit of that charm once again. And while people have, said that the graphics don't look up to snuff, I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. Again, a game's style goes a long way, and Team Ico knows what that style is. It's good to see The Last Guardian come after this period of time that it's been missing. And lo and behold, it's supposed to come out in 2016. I do have some skepticisms on that because, well, they have said that before, but needless to say, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Number 6, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. Had heard nothing about this, and I adored A Link Between Two Worlds, to the point that I did something I don't do a lot of nowadays, beat a game twice. Not because there aren't games that don't deserve a second playthrough, I just like new experiences and more experiences all over the place. I don't usually go back. But with Link Between Two Worlds, I did, despite the fact that there wasn't a lot of differences in terms of the gameplay. Now, the idea of this new game and its totem mechanic, even in a single-player experience, is intriguing to me, and it does have the charm like the 3DS Zelda games have had from before. The fashion thing, I'm not sold on it quite yet, but honestly, the idea of the abilities that could come from it intrigue me. Now look, I'm not a co-op player mostly. I like single-player and multiplayer experiences. But I can see this working in a Four Swords type of experience, and that game was an underrated game in its own right. I will find people to play with, and I will want to sort of, do the things that you would do in a co-op game. Yell at each other, throw people down pits, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a griefer at times. But it was the one game that came out of Nintendo's conference that I sat there going, alright, I didn't know about anything going into this, and I really want to get my hands on this new game. Number 5, Cuphead. Style, style, style. I admit, visuals can make a difference in these kind of mediums, and a perfect art style can make a game stand out in presentations like this, even when they haven't proven anything game-wise. But just the aesthetic that they showed with the 1930-ish cartoon style of Cuphead just oozed everything I love about art direction in games, and how to use it properly. But even with what they showed, I just see a game that's going to work for me. They didn't show that much of the gameplay in terms of the combat system or anything like that, but here's the thing, just look at it. Just look at it. I want more Cuphead. I want more Cuphead now. Again, like TB said, I could have gotten 90 minutes of that footage and probably still been happy at that point. Needless to say, it is the one indie title on this list that I sit there going, okay, this is the kind of indies that I love. Something unique, something different, and something that really plays on a nostalgic purpose at times. Cuphead, alright, show me what you've got. Number 4, Fallout 4. Yeah, what did you expect? Now, a lot of the number 4 games within the E3 conference didn't do well with me, and you'll find that out in the next video. But I'm not a hardcore Fallout fan by any stretch of the means. Truth be told, I haven't actually finished Fallout 3 technically. But I admit, with the changes they showed off, I am looking forward to getting my hands on this game later on. The key of player choice and player integration is where I definitely see my renewed appeal in the franchise at this point. It's about a refinement of the game, and what I see that they focused on were elements such as the character customization that helps bring more of a feel to your character than ever before. I like the refinement of the conversation system, allowing for you to drop in and out of conversations rather easily. I like the fact that they really show you what happened before the nuclear fallout, to give some backstory to your story. The little touches. I think when a game stands out in the big picture, it's the little touches that you may remember the most. The idea of your child in-game being based on how you craft the parents, and that there will be a lot more common names actually spoken out. Now, I will admit that they used my spelling of the name that sold me on this more than it should have. They spelled Sean with a U. I feel validated as a person. There's a lot we don't know about the game right now, but given what we've seen, and given the fact that, again, there will be mod support, they've put their effort in the right places in my opinion. Now, not enough to pre-order if I wasn't covering games for a living, but enough to say, yeah, I'm actually really excited to see what they do with the Boston setting, and the characters and the story. I just hope they do the story right. I do think that there has been some problems in the past with Fallout stories in terms of sort of cohesion overall. Number 3, Just Cause 3. I love destructible environments. They're some of my biggest kryptonites in terms of me rating a game. You know, like for example, Hatred, with its review of a 5.5 that I gave it, it probably would have gotten something close to a 4 if it didn't have that destructible environment portion in it. I'm actually being rather serious on that. And Just Cause 2 was the kind of open world game that I loved, where I can really mess around with the world and do a bunch of crazy stuff that wasn't set in the world of realism. The game knew what it was. Did it defy the laws of physics? Yeah, it did. I shouldn't be able to slow myself down by, hitting a grappling hook on the ground. Did it make no sense at times? Of course it did. But was it fun as hell because of it? Hell yeah. And the addition that they've added in this iteration, like the wingsuit, along with the ability to attach the hook to multiple elements, it just adds a lot more options. More ways to blow up buildings, more ways to throw enemies around, more ways for me just to turn off my brain and let the chaos run wild. I love what they showed here, like the big plane having multiple cars hooked to it. Ever since the announcement of this game, I have wanted the game in my hands at that very point. And what they showed here, I wanted even more. I want to make things go boom. I want to see that environment crumble and use it to my advantage creatively. That's the thing with these games. It's creativity at times, what you can do with the world. I know I'm not a Grand Theft Auto fan. I know that I like the Saints Row series more. But this one, in terms of the open world environment, is the one that I really want. Number 2, Nier 2. Yes, Nier 2 is number 2 on my list. Now, you're probably sitting here going, wait a minute, I thought you always wanted to talk about gameplay in terms of these trailers, Dragnix. They didn't show anything regarding the game. In fact, they didn't really have a CGI trailer at all. So how did this make number 2 on my list, when I've always been barking about that? Well, there's two things. The first game and its potential. The first game was an underrated game that had its problems, but it felt like a real change in the RPG genre. It was quirky. It was different. It didn't play by the conventional rules of the genre, but it had several differences in its gameplay. The whole bullet hell-like mechanics with bosses, for example. An excellent story with off-the-wall characters. And a fantastic soundtrack. But where it lacked was the cohesion of those different elements. They didn't necessarily work well together. You had cool and fun parts, but when it came to the whole, it felt like something was missing. But then we enter with Platinum Games. You see, Platinum Games is the prime example of things working together within a game's world. I did a video on it with Bayonetta 2. Every element of the gameplay, with a minor exception here and there, seems to complement each other, to the point where I see a studio with a really good design head on their shoulders in terms of the game design. I felt that this partnership is like a person having cancer and then going to the Mayo Clinic. It's the dream scenario. The original director of the game is on board, but with Platinum's assistance on the action portion and the piecing things together. This excites me. Platinum is at the top of my developers list that I'm interested in what they have to produce next. And the fact they got a game that has the potential to really innovate in the genre and really push storytelling to the next level, I'm sold. I'm absolutely 100% sold. I admit, for this game, I'm throwing my cynical nature out the window on this one. The fanboy in me, it's excited. Yes, on Nier, I'm excited. Needless to say, I want to see more from Platinum, and everything they've done lately, with the exception of that Legend of Korra game, is something that I really have enjoyed. It may have not been the top of its genre, well, Bayonetta 2 I think is, but it is exactly what I want from Platinum Studios. And needless to say, Platinum Games, yeah, you've sold me. I want Nier 2. Number 1, Shadow Warrior 2. Yeah, you didn't see this coming now, did you? Yeah, you're surprised. You should be. It's not a AAA first-person shooter. It was announced on the side and before E3. But you see, of all the footage that I saw during E3, of all the gameplay demonstrations, of everything that I witnessed over the last several days, this game was what stood out. Yes, the smaller version of the great remake from several years ago with single-player focus. You see, here's the thing. With new IPs and games that are iterations of a genre, it's really hard to sort of classify exactly where the excitement comes from. But the thing with Shadow Warrior 2 is what I saw was the original gameplay being amped up to the next level in so many different ways that I saw perfection. Yeah, I know, perfection. How can I say that when I haven't actually played the game? But it's what they chose in terms of the additions that they put onto the game. The increased amount of melee weapons in terms of getting right in front of your enemy and dealing damage. The different weaponry and the refinement and polish that I see with it. The idea of that minigun and the reload animation just gave it some kind of charm that I can't put my finger on. It was like they understood what exactly the Shadow Warrior universe was all about. I see the focus on adding more weapons and customization to the weaponry. I like the fact that they added co-op in this case, and this co-op is something that I really would be interested in. I like the fact that the weapons are over the top in some ways. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, Shadow Warrior has a certain charm to it with its main character Wang, and that stayed consistent. You could hear him spouting one-liners during the trailer. You could see the sort of pizzazz and the, slicing in 360 kind of thing. The enemies seem realistic. I know I dissect trailers and, have problems with what I've seen at E3. Doom is an example of that, where I found problems within the trailer. Here's the thing. When I saw Shadow Warrior 2, I saw consistency. I saw attention to detail. I saw a polished game. At this point, a polished game. And that's what has me excited. Yeah, I see what I want to play. I want this game in my hands right now. And honestly, of all the games that I've seen so far, you know what Shadow Warrior 2 is for me? It looks fun. It looks like a blast. It doesn't look like an experience. It doesn't look like a sort of, tactical shooter. I know that people get enjoyment out of that. But when I see Shadow Warrior 2 and I have to explain it in one word, I use the word fun. And isn't that one of the major factors in gameplay nowadays, to actually enjoy yourself? Yeah, you can have your alternate experiences, but if I want to just, relax, Shadow Warrior 2 seems like the perfect game for me. And honestly, of all the games that I saw, yeah, I'll put my pre-order money down right now. And that's it for my top 7. Now, tomorrow I'll be doing my bottom 7, which will be a little bit interesting because there will be some games that will cause a little bit of controversy, I think. But here's the thing. I try to dissect things at a technical level and in terms of enjoyment level. It's all a matter of opinion on this case, so I want to hear what you guys have to think. Do you agree with my list? Don't agree with my list? Whatever the case, leave a comment down below. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this content and want to see more of it, you may want to hit that subscribe button on the left hand side. If you like this video and want to see more of this content, take a look at this video on the left hand side as well. And if you've missed my last video, take a look at the right hand side. Once again, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.